Good morning guys, Jamal here. Today we're going to be talking about an important topic. This topic has to do with Moroccan Derija. Is Moroccan Derija Arabic? Can we really consider Moroccan Derija a variety of Arabic? For the average user, this video is a total nonsense, and some may even think I have lost my marbles. But anybody with a basic knowledge of anthropology, sociology, or even linguistics may be able to follow along. Moroccan Derija. I couldn't help but ask why it's considered Moroccan Arabic or a variety of Arabic, because it sounds so different from Arabic, and Arabs seem to have a hard time understanding Moroccans when they speak. Maltese, for example, sounds like Tunisian or even Moroccan Derija, but yet it's not considered Arabic. What a double standard. Almost all Arabs agree that Moroccan Derija is difficult to understand. So, if the native Arabs of the Arabian Peninsula have a hard time understanding Moroccan Derija, why is it still labeled as Arabic? When people say that Moroccan Derija is a form of Arabic, they usually make such judgment based on the outward appearance. And in the case of Derija, it appears that most words are Arabic. Well, that's actually a misconception. This is usually the opinion of ordinary speakers of language because they think that vocabulary is what makes a language. However, linguists and people who specialize in the scientific study of language know that language is much more than just its vocabulary. Language involves syntax, semantics, morphology, phonology, phonetics, lexicography, discourse, grammar. It involves way much more than just words themselves. But it's a misconception that Moroccan Derija consists mainly of Arabic words, because there is actually about 15% of French loan words and about 20% of Amazigh loan words and about 10% of Spanish loan words in addition to Arabic words. Throughout history, Morocco has been the target of many conquests, like the Roman, the Vandals, the Arabs, the Portuguese, the Spanish, the French. All of these nations affected the Moroccan linguistic profile. So the reason this video is being made is because a lot of people assume that just because some Moroccans do not speak Tamazight, that makes them Arabs, which is completely wrong, because Brazilians speak Portuguese but they do not identify as Portuguese. The people from Senegal speak French but they do not claim to be French. The same can be said about people from the Ivory Coast. They also speak French but do not pretend or identify as French. Mexicans speak Spanish but they do not claim to be Spanish. So Moroccans who self-identify as Arabs just because they don't speak Tamazight are completely wrong. It just means they are Amazigh who have been Arabized. After the spread of Islam, it became necessary for the Amazigh people to read the Quran in Arabic. So they became familiar with so many Arabic words, especially the ones that are frequently repeated in the Quran. Because learning Arabic was a requirement for prayer and reading the Quran, those who displayed knowledge in memorizing the Quran in Arabic were considered among the elites, to the point that some of them even claimed to be descendants of Arabs. So what Berbers did is basically use Arabic words with an Amazigh structure, a structure that was meaningless in Arabic but made sense in Tamazight. So anybody who actually speaks Tamazight will be able to understand what I'm talking about, because many sentences in Moroccan Derija, even though they have Arabic words, don't really make any sense, but they make much more sense in Tamazight. So for example, if an Arab from Saudi Arabia were to read something written by a Moroccan, even though he will be able to recognize the Arabic words, he wouldn't be able to understand the meaning, because though the words are Arabic, the structure is Amazigh. Let's take these examples below. So if we look at this sentence here, Illa onzar in Tamazight. So this is a literal translation, word for word in Derija. Kaina shta. But in Arabic, that's not how you would say it's raining. You would say innaha tumtir. The other example in Tamazight would be awit rikhfink. and the literal translation in Derija is Diha Frask. This would mean nothing in Arabic because, as you can see, the structure is Amazigh, even though some words are Arabic. But in Arabic, you would say لا تتدخل فيما لا يعنيك. Another example here is يوتيد غيخفنز. يوتيد غيخفنز means he got himself in trouble or he caused problems to himself. But as you can see in Derija again, خرج على راسه, which is an Amazigh structure. It would mean nothing in Arabic, but as you can see in Arabic, one would say سبب لنفسه المشاكل. So this way the Amazigh people made Moroccan Derija this form of communication with an Arabic facade but with an Amazigh essence. So slowly and gradually using Arabic words with an Amazigh structure came with a lot of prestige. That made a lot of other Amazigh people follow suit because speaking some Arabic words came with a lot of advantages. This became a habit that was adopted by many Amazigh people, except for those who remained isolated in the Atlas Mountains or the Reef Mountains. This gradual change from completely using Amazigh words in original form to using Derija eventually resulted in the next generation only speaking Derija, and eventually assuming that Derija is a form of Arabic, and as a consequence assume that they are actually Arabs when they are just Amazigh. Moroccan Derija is also characterized by the deletion and omission of vowels. So for example, most Amazigh verbs do not have any vowels. The same thing can be seen in Moroccan Derija. So you can see the Amazigh influence on words that are originally Arabic. Prior to modern science and extensive analysis of Moroccan culture, it was believed that the speakers of Tamazight are Amazigh people and the speakers of Derija were Arabs. But this is farther from being true, because with genetic technology and more research on Moroccan linguistics, it turns out that almost all Moroccans are of Amazigh descent, except some sub-Saharan Africans. This shows that the speaker of Derija were initially Amazigh people who translated Amazigh to Arabic word for word, resulting in what is known as Derija. So even when some words are originally from Arabic, the usage and the meaning does not make any sense, because the way the sentences are formed doesn't correspond to an Arabic structure, but rather an Amazigh structure. So for those who do not speak Tamazight, it may be a little difficult to really comprehend what is being discussed. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, please show your support by subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. Thank you and have a great day.